Gentlemen, it's not about looks, money, or charm. The truth is, attraction begins in the mind. Women are instinctively drawn to a certain type of man, not because of what he says, but because of how he thinks. And in today's video, I'll reveal 5 psychological rules of attraction and 1 bonus mindset that makes women chase, obsess, and stay loyal. A man who views himself as the prize subconsciously trains others to treat him that way. When you truly believe you're valuable, your entire demeanor changes. You no longer beg for attention, validation, or approval. Instead, you simply exist in a way that commands respect. It's not about arrogance, it's about inner confidence and self-worth. A man who believes he's the prize doesn't feel the need to prove himself to anyone. He knows what he brings to the table, and he understands that anyone he invites into his life is fortunate to be there. The real power of thinking this way comes in how it affects your interactions with women. If you place her on a pedestal and make her the focal point of your attention, you're already positioning yourself as less important, as someone who's dependent on her approval. Women, at their core, are attracted to men who have something to offer beyond just their presence. When you elevate yourself, you send a message that you have value outside of her, and that you won't settle for anything less than a relationship that complements your life. Hi, Val. You men do not seek validation from others. They don't chase after approval or try to convince anyone of their worth. Their worth is self-evident. Women are instinctively drawn to men who exhibit this high sense of self-value because it triggers their primal attraction to strength and stability. When a man values himself first, it sets a clear standard for how he will be treated, and women can't resist that type of power. When a woman sees a man who is secure in his own skin, who is not afraid to walk away if things aren't right, it becomes clear that he is not desperate for her attention, but rather he is looking for someone who fits into his life, not someone to complete him. This mindset also removes the pressure from interactions with women. When you consider yourself the prize, you're not desperately trying to win over anyone. Instead, you're simply being who you are, offering what you have, and letting her decide if she's worthy of your time. There's no anxiety about whether she likes you or not, because you're not dependent on her validation. You are your own source of confidence. You become a man who is constantly in demand, not because you seek attention, but because you are already everything you need to be. This is the kind of man that women cannot resist. The man who knows his worth and doesn't need anyone to affirm it. Emotional control is one of the most powerful tools a man can have, and it's one of the key traits that makes him incredibly attractive. When you remain calm and composed, especially in situations where others would lose their cool, it signals strength, maturity, and a sense of stability. Most men, when faced with stress or emotional turbulence, react impulsively. They become defensive, agitated, or try too hard to prove themselves. But a man who has emotional control doesn't fall into those traps. He knows that his emotions don't control him, he controls them. This kind of emotional mastery is magnetic because it makes a man seem unshakable, someone who is not easily influenced by the chaos around him. A man who stays calm in the face of adversity doesn't just appear composed on the outside. He radiates a quiet confidence that draws people to him. Women are especially attracted to this quality because it creates a sense of security. When a man is emotionally stable, it tells a woman that he will not overreact to small issues in the relationship. He won't become possessive, insecure, or lash out when faced with challenges. Instead, he will think clearly, make decisions with logic, and respond to conflicts in a level-headed manner. This type of behavior is not only reassuring but deeply appealing because it removes the uncertainty that often causes anxiety in relationships. But emotional control isn't just about keeping your cool when things are going wrong. It's also about being measured in your responses during moments of tension or attraction. For example, when a woman tests you, whether she's being playful or even a little confrontational, how you respond can either build or destroy attraction. If you become defensive, over-justifying yourself or showing frustration, it signals insecurity. But if you stay calm and respond with confidence, it creates a sense of mystery. It makes her wonder what's going on in your mind, which fuels curiosity and desire. Moreover, emotional control also means being able to detach from outcomes. When you're not emotionally invested in the result of a situation or interaction, it takes the pressure off. If you approach a woman with the mindset that she's not the end-all, be-all, but simply someone you'd enjoy getting to know, it allows you to stay relaxed and authentic. When you're too attached to an outcome, you may start acting out of need, which is exactly what repels women. They sense that neediness, and it diminishes the attraction. But a man who is emotionally controlled has a deep understanding of his own worth, and he doesn't feel desperate to win over anyone. This quiet confidence, along with the mystery it creates, becomes incredibly seductive. Another crucial aspect of emotional control is how it allows you to stay present in the moment. When you aren't emotionally triggered by past baggage, external pressures, or fears of the future, you can fully engage with the woman in front of you. Instead of worrying about whether she likes you or not, you're able to focus on the interaction itself, making it natural and enjoyable. Women are naturally drawn to men who can make them feel like they're the only one in the room, and this can only happen if you're in control of your emotions. A man who can be present in the moment not only builds stronger connections, but also becomes more attractive because he's not distracted by his own emotional reactions. When you prioritize your purpose over pleasure, something profound happens. You shift from being a passive participant in life to becoming an active creator of your destiny. The man who is consumed by his purpose doesn't waste time chasing fleeting pleasures or distractions. Instead, he's fully immersed in his mission, his goals, and his growth. This dedication to a purpose beyond himself is magnetic because it creates a sense of depth and direction. It's not about being busy for the sake of being busy. It's about working towards something significant that gives your life meaning. A man who lives with purpose is someone who knows where he's going and why, and that clarity in vision draws people to him, particularly women. A man who has a clear purpose doesn't just appear busy or successful on the surface. His entire energy is different. He operates with a sense of intentionality that commands respect. He isn't chasing after fleeting pleasures because he understands that long-term fulfillment comes from growth, contribution, and making progress toward his bigger vision. This mindset is attractive because it signals stability and maturity. Women are drawn to men who are actively building something, whether that's a career, a personal project, or even a vision for how they want their lives to unfold. There is something magnetic about a man who knows where he's headed and isn't easily swayed by distractions. His commitment to his purpose, rather than the approval of others, makes him stand out in a world where so many are just drifting. When you put your purpose above pleasure, you also teach others how to treat you. Women, in particular, are attracted to men who don't need them to feel complete. The man who is driven by a clear purpose is not looking for external validation to feel good about himself. He has his own sense of self-worth, and that self-sufficiency is incredibly appealing. When a man's life is centered around something larger than himself, he radiates confidence and independence, and these qualities are irresistible. Women want to feel that they are entering into a relationship with a man who has his own life, his own passions, and his own direction. When a man is absorbed in his purpose, he doesn't need to rely on someone else to give him meaning. Instead, he adds value to the lives of those around him. Additionally, prioritizing purpose over pleasure gives a man the ability to make decisions from a place of strength rather than desperation. Many men who prioritize short-term pleasures, whether that's validation, attention, or even relationships, become emotionally dependent on these things. This neediness, this desire to get something from others, is often a major turnoff. Women can sense this neediness and are repelled by it because it signals insecurity and a lack of direction. In contrast, when a man is focused on his purpose, he is less concerned about immediate gratification. He understands that some things require time, discipline, and patience, and that ultimately his purpose will lead to greater rewards. This mindset allows him to stay calm under pressure, make decisions without second guessing, and navigate life with a sense of groundedness. Furthermore, when a man is dedicated to his purpose, it naturally sets him apart from other men. Many men are chasing instant pleasures or superficial goals that don't contribute to their long-term development. They may look for quick ways to please others, seek attention, or focus on short-term satisfaction. However, the man who has chosen his purpose as his primary guide doesn't waste time with distractions. He builds value through consistent effort and long-term vision. Women are naturally attracted to this sense of commitment and focus because it demonstrates that the man has the qualities necessary for long-term success. Qualities like discipline, patience, and resilience. It's not just about what he has now, but about where he is headed in the future. When a man's purpose drives him, it also shapes the way he interacts with women. He's not trying to impress or win anyone over. Instead, he's looking for someone who complements his life and adds value to his mission. He isn't concerned with being liked for the sake of it. His primary concern is whether someone aligns with the life he's creating. This mindset shifts the dynamic in a relationship because it establishes an atmosphere of mutual respect. A man who is living his purpose is not there to be entertained or distracted by temporary pleasure. He is looking for someone who respects his vision and can offer support, understanding, and encouragement in return. This makes the pursuit of relationships less about seeking validation and more about creating meaningful connections that enhance each other's lives. Needy energy is one of the biggest turn-offs when it comes to attraction. When a man is overly attached to the outcome of any interaction or relationship, it shows a lack of self-sufficiency. This neediness becomes apparent in the way he behaves, constantly seeking validation, overanalyzing every word and action, and trying too hard to please. The man who is desperate for approval, whether from women or anyone else, creates an uncomfortable tension in the dynamic because he is emotionally dependent. This emotional dependence subtly communicates that his happiness is contingent on someone else's approval, and that's not only unattractive, but it's also unhealthy. Women are naturally repelled by this type of behavior because they want a man who can stand on his own, someone who doesn't need them to complete him. When a man detaches from outcomes, he allows himself to be fully present in each moment without the pressure of expectations. He is not emotionally attached to getting a certain response from a woman, and because of this, he carries a certain freedom in his interactions. This freedom becomes magnetic because it creates an environment where both people can be themselves without the weight of needing to win or impress. Women find this liberating because it means they can feel comfortable in their own skin without feeling like they are under a microscope, being judged or evaluated. This detachment from outcomes allows a man to approach relationships from a place of strength, where his actions are not dictated by fear of rejection or need for validation. Instead, he acts authentically, and if a woman doesn't respond in the way he hopes, he moves on without emotional turmoil. One of the greatest benefits of detaching from outcomes is that it gives a man the freedom to walk away from situations that aren't serving him. This is incredibly powerful because it shifts the dynamic from one of neediness to one of choice. When a man is not desperate for validation or approval, he operates from a place of abundance, knowing that he has other options and that his worth is not tied to any one person. Women are drawn to men who are willing to walk away from situations that don't align with their values or desires. This creates a sense of mystery and power that draws them in, because it communicates that the man is not emotionally invested in any one outcome. He is secure in who he is, and will not settle for anything less than what he deserves. The ability to walk away from an unsatisfactory situation is a sign of emotional strength and self-respect, and women find this incredibly appealing. When you stop attaching yourself emotionally to every outcome, you create space for real attraction to grow. This is because you stop being obsessed with the idea of making someone like you or win their affection. Instead, you focus on being your best self, doing what makes you happy, and creating a life that aligns with your values. Women are naturally attracted to men who are focused on their own growth and development, because it signals that the man is not dependent on someone else to feel fulfilled. When a woman senses that a man is self-sufficient and emotionally independent, she is drawn to him because it shows that he is strong, stable, and mature qualities that are essential for a lasting, healthy relationship. By detaching from the need for immediate validation, a man becomes more appealing because he is able to lead with confidence and authenticity, not desperation. This detachment is not about avoiding relationships or pushing people away. It's about creating a mindset where you aren't emotionally reliant on the validation or approval of others. It allows you to approach relationships with a sense of freedom, knowing that your happiness is not contingent on someone's acceptance or affection. This shift in mindset is what makes a man stand out. When you stop chasing outcomes, you open the door to healthier, more balanced relationships that are based on mutual respect, attraction, and understanding. Women are naturally drawn to this kind of self-assuredness because it reflects the qualities they want in a partner: emotional independence, strength, and an ability to lead without being dependent on others. When you speak with presence instead of persuasion, it's not about the words you say, but the energy you project when you say them. A man who speaks with presence has an unmistakable aura of confidence and authority, not because he is trying to convince anyone of anything, but because he is rooted in his own self-assuredness. He doesn't rush his words, and he doesn't try to fill the silence with unnecessary chatter. Each word is intentional, and his voice carries weight. This presence can be felt in the room. When a man speaks like this, women are drawn to him because he projects a calm, steady energy that signals control stability, and a sense of maturity. This type of speaking is not about the performance of talking. It's about communicating who you are without needing to prove anything. The way a man speaks also directly correlates to how others perceive his value. When a man speaks slowly and deliberately, he commands attention. It's as though time slows down when he's speaking because his words are valuable and everyone in the room knows it. This type of speech creates a certain magnetism because it holds a person's focus without effort. Women are attracted to this because it's a signal of strength, both in the man's inner composure and in his ability to control the pace of a conversation. He doesn't need to fill the silence with nervous banter or small talk. Instead, he allows the space to breathe, and in that space, his presence becomes undeniable. The way he speaks becomes an extension of his confidence, and this is exactly what draws women in. Speaking with presence also reveals emotional intelligence. A man who speaks thoughtfully, taking his time to choose his words, demonstrates that he is in control of his emotions and not driven by impulse. He listens first before responding, weighing the situation before offering his thoughts. This emotional maturity is incredibly attractive to women because it shows that he is not reactive. He is not quick to anger, frustration, or insecurity. Instead, he is able to process his emotions and communicate them in a composed manner, which in turn makes the interaction feel safe and grounded. Women are naturally drawn to men who can hold space for them emotionally, and speaking with presence is one of the key ways a man does this. The power of presence in speech also lies in its authenticity. When a man speaks with intention, he is being true to himself. He's not trying to impress or manipulate anyone. He's simply speaking his truth. This kind of authenticity is magnetic because people can feel it. It's hard to fake presence. Either you have it or you don't. And when a man speaks from a place of authenticity, women can't help but be drawn to him because he radiates a sincerity that is rare. He doesn't need to embellish his words or tell elaborate stories to captivate an audience. His raw honesty and straightforwardness are enough. Women find this refreshing, as it signals that the man is comfortable with who he is and does not need external validation. Authenticity creates trust, and trust is the foundation of any strong attraction. Finally, speaking with presence also means knowing when to be silent. A man who speaks less but with greater impact understands that not everything needs to be said. He knows that silence can be just as powerful as words, and he uses it to his advantage. Silence in the right moments speaks volumes because it shows patience and poise. It allows the woman to speak, to express herself, and to feel heard. This not only enhances the connection, but also deepens the attraction. When a man knows how to use silence effectively, it conveys confidence in his own thoughts and in the value of the conversation itself. He doesn't feel the need to fill every pause or to keep the conversation moving at all costs. Instead, he creates a rhythm that feels natural and easy. Women are drawn to this because it demonstrates a level of emotional control and maturity that is rare. It's not about speaking to impress. It's about speaking in a way that makes an impact. A man who is unapologetically himself becomes magnetic because he operates from a place of authenticity. When you stop pretending to be something you're not and start embracing who you truly are, you shift the energy around you. People can sense when you are being authentic, and this draws them in. For women, authenticity is incredibly attractive because it shows that a man is comfortable with his own identity. There is nothing more alluring than someone who knows who they are and is not afraid to express it. An authentic man is free from the need to impress or seek approval. He simply is. This kind of freedom creates a space where genuine connection can take place, and that connection is based on mutual respect and admiration. When you're unapologetically yourself, you stop seeking validation from others. This is key because it means you're no longer dependent on external factors to define your self-worth. You become internally validated, which gives you a sense of inner peace and confidence. Women are naturally drawn to men who are not constantly seeking approval or trying to fit into a mold. These men are at ease with their flaws, their strengths, and everything in between. They embrace all aspects of themselves, and this sense of self-assurance becomes a silent magnet that attracts others. When a man can stand confidently in his own skin, it conveys strength, independence, and emotional maturity. Moreover, being unapologetically yourself also means you are not afraid to set boundaries. A man who knows who he is and what he wants is clear about his limits. He doesn't tolerate disrespect or anything that compromises his values. This type of confidence in setting boundaries is incredibly attractive because it signals to others that he values himself and his time. It also shows that he won't settle for less than what he deserves. Women appreciate a man who is able to assert his boundaries because it demonstrates that he is not a pushover and that he has high standards that will naturally raise the bar in any relationship. Another reason why being unapologetically yourself is so powerful is that it eliminates the pressure to perform. When you stop trying to be someone you're not, you free yourself from the exhausting cycle of pretending. This takes the weight off your interactions with women because you no longer feel like you have to be perfect or act a certain way to win them over. Instead, you can relax and let things unfold naturally. This ease and confidence in your own skin are magnetic because it makes people feel comfortable around you. Women especially are drawn to men who don't feel the need to impress them. Instead, they just enjoy the moment and are comfortable being themselves. Furthermore, being unapologetically yourself invites genuine connections. When you stop pretending and start embracing your true nature, you create space for others to do the same. This authenticity encourages deeper conversations and more meaningful interactions because both parties can drop their masks. Women are drawn to men who don't hide behind a facade or try to be someone they're not. Authenticity invites vulnerability, and vulnerability is what leads to true intimacy. When a man is unafraid to show his real self, it allows women to feel safe doing the same, which fosters a sense of connection that is both rare and powerful. Finally, when a man is unapologetically himself, he becomes less concerned with the opinions of others. He doesn't need validation from external sources because his sense of self is rooted in something deeper than others' approval. This independence makes him an attractive partner because it shows that he is not emotionally dependent on anyone else for his happiness. Women admire men who have their own lives, their own passions, and their own purpose. They find this self-sufficiency deeply appealing because it demonstrates maturity and emotional strength. An unapologetically authentic man is a man who can stand strong on his own, and this strength makes him incredibly attractive to women who seek depth and security in a relationship. In the end, Women are drawn to men who are confident, emotionally stable, and true to themselves. These qualities create an undeniable attraction that goes beyond superficial appearances or fleeting moments of validation. When a man is focused on his purpose, maintains emotional control, and speaks with presence, he doesn't just attract women. He attracts respect, admiration, and deep connections. By embracing who you truly are, setting healthy boundaries, and operating with authenticity, you create a dynamic where attraction grows naturally. Women don't resist men who think and act this way because they see someone who is not only desirable, but also worthy of admiration and love. It's this type of strength, maturity, and self-assurance that makes a man irresistible. And ultimately, it's these traits that build the foundation for lasting, meaningful relationships.